This comes out of section 8.1, exponential functions. So in this question I'm just asked what's the limit as x approaches negative infinity of 3 to the x plus 5 minus 2. Now there are a couple ways of looking at this, and one would be to kind of look back at your graphs and say, well, y equals 3 to the x is exponential growth, y equals 3 to the x plus 5 is just that move 5 units to the left, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we still have exponential growth with the same asymptote. And y equals 3 to the x plus 5 minus 2 is going to be that graph but moved down 2 units, so we have ourselves a graph that looks like this. As we can see then from that graph, as x approaches negative infinity, this graph is going to approach negative 2, that horizontal asymptote that was at y equals 0, but then once we moved it down it became y equals negative 2. Another way to look at this would be to say, well, if I did the limit as x approaches negative infinity of 3 to the x plus 5 plus the limit as x approaches negative infinity of negative 2, separated into two pieces. This first one is you put in huge negative numbers. You have 3 to the negative a billion. This approaches 0. There's no x even in this one, so it's negative 2. And you still would get the same answer if you looked at it kind of numerically versus graphically. So the last limit I want to take a look at is this one. The limit as x approaches 3 from the left of 2 to the 1 over x minus 3. Now this isn't one probably that I'd expect you to draw the graph. I don't, off the top of my head, without a graphing calculator, have trouble picturing that graph myself. But if you think about this, as x approaches 3 from the left, numbers like 2.99999, what you're going to have is 2 to the power of 1 over a tiny negative number. 2.99999 minus 3 will give you negative 0.00001. So 2 to the negative infinity then should give you the answer that you're looking for, which in this case is 0. This limit does approach 0. You could have also, decided, let's let n equal 1 over x minus 3. As x approaches 3 from the left, this n is going to approach negative infinity. And so if I said what's the limit as n approaches negative infinity of 2 to the n, we did that limit up above essentially, and you tell me that that's 0. So it depends what way makes the most sense to you, but in this section you will be asked to evaluate some exponential function limits.